The invisible game Machiavelli grasped long before most men ever sensed it. Read at your own risk. Any discomfort you feel comes from the mirror, not from these words. The modern man still clings to the belief that what women desire is love, attention, promises of forever. Yet when the room grows quiet and the music fades, what remains isn't the declaration, but the presence. What earns respect is not the speech, but emotional gravity. What keeps her near is not explanation, but your capacity to command your own heartbeat when provocation tries to pull you off center. Love without power becomes request. Power without noise becomes sovereignty. Machiavelli never spoke of romance, but he understood the human stage better than anyone. Whoever governs appearances governs perception. That is the key. Woman rules through instinct and culture. Where man demands sincerity, she engineers atmosphere. While he seeks confession, she shapes mood. While he asks for clarity, she measures effect. Appearance is not vanity, it is a force field. What feels true moves more than what is true, and whoever controls appearance controls desire. This is not malice, it is survival. Over centuries, the feminine learned influence the way lungs learn air, biologically, socially, symbolically. She reads temperature, calibrates silence, adjusts gazes. Strategy becomes reflex. Man loses himself because he confuses charm with surrender, honesty with exposure, intensity with truth. He wants a map, she rearranges the terrain. He asks for direction, she reshapes the landscape. The game is not intellectual, it is instinctual. Jung pointed toward what men refuse to see. The feminine works through the anima lodged in the male unconscious, projecting exactly what seduces and unravels him. She ignites images he mistakes for fate. He bows to the symbol, not the person. He names love what is actually his own shadow begging for resolution. That is why the man seduced by emotional clarity becomes blind the moment he believes he sees. What he perceives is projection. What he surrenders is command. The truth is simple and quiet. While man searches for emotional fairness, woman measures value by the impact he has on her and on the space around him. Impact is density, rhythm, self-mastery. Impact is how your presence alters the breathing of the room. Words matter little when subtext speaks louder, and the feminine reads hierarchy through subtext. What weighs is not what you feel for her, but who you are before her. There is an asymmetry that shatters romance but reveals reality. Man wants to be loved. The feminine respects whoever establishes center. Man wants understanding. The feminine follows whoever cannot be captured. Man seeks certainty. The feminine circles whoever tolerates uncertainty. Observe the pattern that structures the board. The weak man reacts, the average man explains, the powerful man watches. And silence completes the work. Not because silence is a trick, but because silence born from inner order becomes law. The Machiavellian warning is not poetry, it is procedure. The man who seeks love becomes usable. The man who commands his silence becomes feared. Making love the goal breeds dependency. Making silence the foundation creates authority. One seeks measurement from others, the other becomes the measure itself. The feminine, as an instinctive strategist, uses masks that do not conceal but orient. Every gesture is a vector. Every pause is a test. Every absence is a ruler. This is not conspiracy, it is biology refined into art. A woman who understands power does not need volume. She orchestrates attention. A man who does not understand himself raises his voice and loses the room. When the room is lost, the narrative collapses. When the narrative collapses, he begs for love, and when he begs, he hands over control. This is the angle most avoid because it strips comfort and leaves only structure. Masculine dignity is preserved not by being chosen, but by remaining whole when the scene invites collapse. Attraction is not frantic desire, but calm governance of desire. The gaze is held not by emotional promises, but by the absence of desperation. Respect is not gathered with compliments, it is lifted through discipline. Call it ancient, cold, or raw, it remains unchanged. Woman does not seek confession, she seeks an axis. She does not want a translator of emotion, she wants a keeper of rhythm. She does not seek emotional justice, she seeks emotional structure. And structure is not explained, it is emanated. That is why the game feels uncomfortable. It is not solved through language, but through presence. It does not reward intention, it rewards state. If there is a forbidden truth, it is this: the appearance that rules is inner architecture, not surface decoration. The power that does not announce itself is the only one that survives the first clash of wills. Everything else is noise, and noise is always weakness confessing itself. The feminine instinct tests for power, not affection. A woman tests not because she doubts, but because she must feel the weight of a man's axis. Every provocation, every silence, every ambiguity asks a single mute question: are you stable enough to contain my chaos? This is natural selection operating beneath modern clothing and sentimental language. The surface evolved, the logic did not. The feminine seeks a center she can orbit without dissolving. The man without center is expelled.